PM Mishra is managing partner and founder at Finlaw Associate, India Finjuris Consults in Dubai. And let me start with Satvik Vishwanath. Can you explain to our viewers, where is this craze for crypto coming from? Because usually when you put your money into any asset class, whether it's stocks or real estate or gold, there is some fundamental backing for it. If you're investing in stocks, you're investing in a company, you're investing in the balance sheet of a company, you're investing thinking that company will grow by X percentage over the next few years, and you're backing that value of the company. If you're investing in real estate, same thing. You are expecting the value of that particular property to go up by X amount over the next few years. There is some basic, underlying value to any asset class. In the case of crypto, what is the underlying value? Mr. Mishra, PM Mishra.
As far as regulation is concerned, yeah, it seems like government is really serious about the regulation. Regulation is necessary in our country. Otherwise, criminalization of crypto asset is inevitable. And I think very soon in this winter session, government will definitely discuss this, and some regulation will come. But regulation doesn't mean it all depends on how the regulation will be there, what exactly the shape is. But regulation will definitely give some comfort to the investors.
Okay.
And investor protection must be the first and foremost thing that has to be taken care of in case of regulation.
All right. What about the question on Synergy, which our first caller asked? Is there something that you'd like to add on? He says.
If you can please repeat it.
All right. He said the origin of Bitcoin is from a phenomenon called Synergy, which is basically the US dollar being the backstop currency in the world. And there were certain people who did not like that arrangement or felt that was an unfair system, particularly in developing countries. And therefore, he feels that was the origin of crypto as some form of a currency, some form of a legal tender.
See, as far as cryptocurrency as a legal tender, if at all, if you are talking about a stable coin, whereas like USDT or USDC, those are all stable coin backed by dollars, So as far as crypto as a legal tender is absolutely unacceptable, and it will be a disaster for the global economy.
Okay. Let me get a few more callers in. Mr. Vivek is calling us from Chennai. Mr. Vivek, good evening. What's your question, sir, for our
Good evening, Zaka.
Yeah, good evening.
It is a very good movement from the government, actually. This is, this is the right time, the right movement the government is taking.
Okay.
The country where India is like only the 4% people are in the only the 4% people investing in the stock market.
Yeah.
In this kind of market, we need a regulation. Earlier, the colonel was talking like, because he doesn't know anything about this crypto. He's only seen this asset as only as a currency. This is not only a currency. There are so many projects going on behind this. Okay. If you see the Facebook and the WhatsApp, everything that's changing, their name is the metaverse. There are a lot of, as a layman, there are a lot of, technology transformation happening there.
All
See, the internet when initially started, people lost the opportunity investing in the companies like IBM or Microsoft. Now this generation has got an opportunity to invest in some technology, the huge transformation. Instead of accepting it in the right way, there's colonels who came, the caller earlier, it was very astonishing to hear his voice. This is, without understanding this, even I was a guy who, a few months back, it was in a very negative mode. One started to learn this is a huge, India can take to the next level this.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vivek, for your call. Let me ask Satvik that, and I'll ask this to Gopal Krishna Agarwal as well. Does it worry you that, let's say, for example, stock markets, which is regulated, which is based on the value of companies, we have in total just a shade under, I think, 2 crore retail investors in India. By some estimates, in crypto, there's already 5 times that number who's invested in crypto. Does that worry you, Satvik Vishwanath?
Yeah, it does, because it's kind of, even though the crypto companies are talking about disclaimers saying that, okay, you should be cautious about these things on one side, the common man, most of them who do not try to understand what is this cryptocurrency all about, and they are just looking at it as a get rich quick scheme, right? So this is kind of is what the easy understanding for people that the industry in some way and the rest of the world as well is kind of portraying on a common man. And so that's obviously quite worrisome. The way people raise money, the way people try to build the companies and how quickly they shut down, and some of them become super big in just a couple of months. So it's kind of everything is very fast paced. And
okay,
it is somewhat worrisome.
Let me ask Gopal Agarwal. I think one of the other points that one of the callers made was when Internet 1.0 came into being, you had these big technology companies, Microsoft and IBM and Intel, and then of course when the social media revolution happened, companies like Facebook. For young Indian investors who couldn't be a part of that investment boom, does crypto offer the chance to be big investors or make big profits and invest in a big way in this asset class for Internet 2.0? Even traditional technology companies are reinventing themselves. The case of Facebook is a classic one.
Zaka, I would like to clarify 2-3 points here. They are very important. One thing in the start I said that we should not consider it as an asset class. The time or we consider it as an asset class, there are so many problems arising out of it. And there is a wrong notion that it cannot be controlled. Why? Exchange, if there is a legislation, exchange can be controlled. How much you hold the currency, that can be regulated. How you pay for that currency, KYC norms, all these things are there for regulation. The distinction between control of the price and regulation is different. It can be regulated. An Indian investing in dollar can buy the cash from any place, but there is a mechanism for regulation. So regulations can be there. Controlling of the price, government cannot control what will be its price because it's a global.
All right, fair enough. I think that's a fair point. Let me try and get in some more callers in. Arun is calling us from Kolkata. Good evening to you, Arun. What's your question, sir?
Good evening, Zaka. It's not a question as such.
Sure.
What I would like to just point out, there are several disadvantages which have been pointed out, like money laundering through Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, or being used in terrorist activities or drug trafficking, etc. So these are really negative points.
Sure.
Bitcoin has been there for about 10 years, just 10 years. Do we need to say that there was no terrorism or drug trafficking or any other money laundering sort of activities before that? Money did not exchange hands.
Okay, that's a fair question. I'll ask that to one of our panelists. I'll get one final caller in. We're completely out of time. Samir is calling us from Pune. He's our last caller tonight. Samir, good evening. Samir, if you have a question, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you. You're on TV. Go ahead. Ask your question, please.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I am a follower of crypto through my son, who invests quite regularly.
All right.
So I would be really grateful if someone can the experts sitting there can let me know what type of a regulation can you suggest would be the right way for bringing crypto to India.
What type of regulation is India looking at? Pawan Dugal, I'll give you the final word to both the questions that Arun asked as well as what Samir is asking. Arun saying, yes, there are hidden risks. This can be used for terror activities. This can be used for money laundering. The case in Karnataka, the Bitcoin scam in Karnataka is a classic example. But can you blame all of it on Bitcoin? Because it's not like these activities were not happening before the invention of Bitcoin. And more importantly, the question that Samir is also asking, what is the form of regulation you're looking at? As Gopal Agarwal says, I don't think any government can regulate the price or if there is a bubble, I don't think a government can stop that bubble. But what it can do is lay down common sense guidelines for who can invest in and how they can invest. Pawan Dugal.
And that is the primary foundation on which basis the government must proceed. The government must be consciously clear not to over-regulate, not to overkill. This is a sector that's the present and the future. So we have to be enabling, we have to be minimal in our regulation, yet at the same time, we also have to protect our consumers, our investors. Please understand, crypto is not an Indian ecosystem phenomenon.